Are you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
You're successful and stuck. Where are you burned out and standing in your own way? Are you ready to make your finances and your whole life work?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
You are where you are because of the way that you think. You are the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your thoughts.
This podcast is about discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring in your success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are Lianne Carter, founder and CEO of Ambition Unleashed, and Carol Register, founder and CEO of Success Uniquely Yours.
Let's get unleashed and unstoppable.
Hello, hello, hello. We are here for you. Yes, you today. And we are excited to bring you some information that is going to be so incredibly powerful for you. The lovely thing about the neuroscience work we do is that it is powerful. I want to lean in today and ask you, if you're new here, if you haven't been here to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, I want to ask you, are you experiencing any conflict with people in your life, your team, as a leader, as a business owner? Are you experiencing difficult relationships, difficult energy or negativity that you're having to be around? What about with your vendors or suppliers? What's going on there? And how are you experiencing that? Is it getting a rise out of you? Are you ending up again in conflict? We're here to tell you some easy secrets, and one tool in particular, to help you be able to move forward with these things and completely shift them. There's so much going on in the world right now, and this is a big part of what we're wanting to share today. There is a lot of negativity, a lot of fear, and a lot of judgment going on, a lot of divisiveness. And it carries over into our business lives and our personal lives. We're here to help. We're here to help you so that you can live the full level 10 life that you want to live.
Carol, you're having me think too, like we're also heading into the holiday season.
Yeah.
So we're heading into Canada here. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. We're heading into the US Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. Then we're going through Christmas, and there's Hanukkah, and there's Diwali, and there's multiple, right? I mean, we are an international podcast, so there's multiple celebrations happening around the world globally. And, as you were doing the intro today, Carol, I leaned into, so of course I know what we're going to talk about, but I leaned into the gift that we get to give you guys today. Because this gift,
each and every one of you,
is going to serve you not only, of course, in your business lives, but your personal lives, right? With your families as you enter this holiday season as well. And so I'm excited. I mean, I'm like, let's tell them what it is, Carol.
Okay. Yeah. Are you ready? Let's dive in. This tool, this number one exciting tool to help you to do some amazing things in your life. I'll leave it for a teaser till the very, very end. For you, for your life, for what you want to do, is curiosity. Curiosity is magical and mysterious, isn't it, Lianne?
Yes, it is.
And I just want to lean into a really quick story. Recently, I was having a conversation with a medical professional, and the conversation took me by surprise. So I was bringing some information to this medical professional in order to give them knowledge, because I knew that they were making decisions around this particular event and topic. I got a strong reaction that was a complete surprise. It was like, I don't agree with this, and we're not moving forward with anything you've said. So I sat there and stepped back a minute, and the tendency would be to bring up emotion, to have an emotional reaction, I should say, and reaction is the key word, and to be in judgment of this individual about not accepting the spirit in which I was bringing the information about this situation. So it was a super interesting process because then some demands were made on me by this medical professional. What is your question? Well, I didn't have a question. I was merely bringing information. So I just leaned into that and stated that in so many words. The reaction was strong. I'm a blah, 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 board certified, yada, 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 this degree and that degree. And, I was able to stand back in my leadership and realize that this individual had just given their power away by stating this. When I leaned in with curiosity and thought, where's the strong reaction coming from? What's happening here? Why is this so difficult? It brought a lot of clarity. It neutralized the situation. And I was able to say, hey, I have a lot of respect for you and what you do. And nobody has all knowledge. This is just information for you to take and deal with as you see fit. Now, you may be in a negotiation. You may be in a relationship with a partner where conflict arises and you get into that reactive state. Magic of curiosity is it releases judgment.
And you guys have heard us talk about this before, about deciding in advance. When we decide in advance that when we might be encountered with something that might have us feel reactive, right? We feel triggered. If we decide in advance we want to be curious, we get to lean into curiosity. Now, we actually looked up the definition earlier to see what does curiosity mean. Words play so much power, right? Like on our brain and things like that. So leaning into what is curiosity. And curiosity is a strong desire to know or learn something, right? It causes the release of judgment, just like Carol said earlier. So when you can decide in advance, the next time I find myself in a situation that might feel a little bit more confrontational or where I might feel uncomfortable or where I may be feeling attacked, right? It's being able to stand in your power and just get curious, right? When you're able to be curious, it allows you to become neutral. It allows you to become detached. A lot of times, like Carol could have easily in the situation have felt attacked. That her information wasn't important. She could have gone through this whole mental back and forth, which is a big thing that our brains do, right? Our brains will automatically go to all these negative thoughts and this self-beat up. And this is why Carol and I want to lean into this topic today. We're seeing this a lot right now. Higher levels of stress. Holidays are happening. There's lots of changes. There's lots of things that are unknown. And so what our brain does is going to go through the fight, flight, or freeze method. So when everyone is that there's a heightened state of this happening, in our lives and around us, this energy, it's so easy to become reactive or shut down or get defensive. And so we're just inviting you to lean into curiosity.
Yeah.
So Carol, what does it look like in terms of being curious? How do we help the listener really be able to make that decision in advance to, okay, I'm going to be curious and help them in those situations to really lean into that and support the listener with really embodying that curiosity in their leadership?
We are here to completely support you. And Alex, Lianne, you totally leaned into this. It is about deciding in advance that you're going to be curious. And we want to give you 3 points, real clear points. And the first one was that when you step into curiosity, it does release judgment. When judgment is released of a situation, it literally neutralizes that trigger. And you mentioned the fight and flight and freeze response. There's also the fawn response now. But, that is what our bodies are doing, going back into that amygdala, the lower level, where we're not thinking clearly. Leadership requires clear thinking and good decision making. So when you release judgment, the exciting part about it is that in the experience, when I'm standing there and this male medical professional is, maybe in the past I would have taken to have felt small or felt that the information wasn't important. Then when I'm able to stand in curiosity, I can make a clear decision that will lead me to the action of being able to be calm and unemotional in the situation and to have the result that I really wanted to have. And the interesting thing about this particular story was I was advocating for all parties involved. I was advocating in regard to the situation of the decision that needed to be made. I was advocating for this individual to provide information. And I was advocating for myself to be a beneficial partner in this endeavor. So standing back, deciding in advance, I'm going to stay curious in this situation, immediately neutralize the judgment, led me back into, as we talk about STEBDAR, we've talked about this in past episodes, and we'll try to reference back to what episode we've really spoken about this in. But it's the DAR, the decisions, the actions, and the results, releasing judgment for those. Now, Alex, Lianne, there are other points in regard to curiosity, releasing judgment being the first one. What else is it important to realize with stepping into curiosity?
Before I go on to the next thing, I just wanted, as you were talking, Carol, I thought about, when we're talking about releasing judgment, something that I have started to use, and it was shared with me many years ago, was actually to acknowledge the trigger or however you're feeling, and then to release it. So something I actually do is I say bless and release.
Powerful.
Because I know that we've talked in previous episodes, it's really important to acknowledge, right? We don't want to just stuff it down. And so things might happen, just like Carol was able to acknowledge and identify how she was feeling. But instead of letting the emotion take over, she acknowledged it, she released it. So bless and release. And then she stepped into curiosity. So consciously making those decisions and being aware of that. Now, a lot of times, this is why we lean into the power of design in advance. Again, our brain is in the reactive state. It's not in a logical state. So the more that you can make these decisions ahead of time of blessing and releasing and deciding in advance to be curious, the more you set yourself up for success in situations like this. So leaning into the second thing is knowing that when we step into curiosity, it helps you shift perspective. It helps you release the negative emotion.
Yeah.
Just like acknowledging how you might be feeling.
Yeah.
Stepping into that curiosity, you are able to release the negative emotion. I've been having quite a few conversations with a lot of our clients lately. And I also remember being in judgment, walking into a meeting, being in judgment before sending an email, or being in judgment when I saw emails in my inbox or someone coming to me. This is a big thing when I walk in the hallway, as someone was walking towards me, I'd already be in my mind thinking about what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah.
And learning about CBT prior to becoming a certified neurocoach, I learned that I was being a fortune teller. And so a lot of times, with our brains, right, as Carol was saying, like a situation occurs.
Yeah.
From that situation, then we have this thought. So what is that thought? Is the thought that you being attacked by this person, or that you are weak, that you're not strong?
Yeah.
Like, again, our brain, and this is just a couple examples that we have, but our brains are going to go into this headspace of these triggers, right?
Yeah.
So again, to be able to release their negative emotion, release the negative thoughts, right, or automated negative thoughts, curiosity helps you be curious.
Yeah.
And it's just about asking questions and lean in, and again, being neutral. It helps you then operate from a good, calm state. We're not in that reactive state. We're actually in a state that we're in control of. And because we're curious, we can feel calm and feel more at peace, because we're not making the situation about us. We're just being curious about the situation and about what's taking shape. And so when you're able to operate from this place of curiosity, you are able to operate from a higher level of leadership where you are neutral. You're standing your ground. You're standing in your confidence. You're being curious, building kind of a relationship versus coming in there, making assumptions, already, right? Being the fortune teller of what the outcome is going to be. right? Carol could have easily have thought about, made a decision up of where this was going to go. And you know what? Just completely shut down.
Yeah.
But she advocated for the people that she was with. And that's what she stood in. She decided in advance that she was there to advocate for all parties. So based on that decision to operate from all parties, she stood in that curiosity, didn't make it mean something about her, and just continue to ask questions and be curious to what happened. And Carol, what was the outcome of the situation? I'm sure the audience would love to hear, like, as you stood in that curiosity, what was the outcome in the end?
Yeah. And it's such a great question. I love what you said about acknowledging. It isn't about pushing down, but it is in the stepdar looking at the situation as neutral. The thought fires, which gives us a perspective that the situation is not neutral. And that's where we become fortune tellers. We start to create our present and our future based on the past.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that you leaned into that. What I found happened in that situation when I spoke up with feeling neutral and unattached and saying, hey, I'm here for you. I respect you and what you're doing. This is information. The medical professional's shoulders relaxed. And the interesting thing about this, and I've also experienced the same situation with being in customer service with one of my businesses. Maybe you're in customer service and somebody can come towards you and they're kind of marching, or they're in that email. And the first part of the email is, and you can become curious. It really does cause you to be able to be unattached.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, to neutralize the situation. I've been able to step in with curiosity into those situations and actually directly confront the customer and say, hey, I'm here for you. They're coming, they're marching, and you already see on their face that they want. And when I've been able to approach them with, I'm here for you. How can I help you? What would you like? Here, let me get you, and going over and above. It's because of being able to be curious about what they're going through, releasing judgment of them, realizing that the story isn't about me. And I know you've experienced that as well, Alex Lianne.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does bring us into our third point. So point number 1, it releases judgment. Point number 2, it helps you to release negative emotion, to neutralize. And while you're also acknowledging the emotion that comes up so that you can go and deal with that, you're not stuffing it down. But then number 3, curiosity brings about that ability to think better. I'd love for you to speak into that.
When we look at our thoughts and emotions together, form these beliefs, and from those beliefs, we take decisions and actions to create results. When we're able to, not operate from the belief of being the fortune teller, what we're assuming is happening, we're able to really look at, okay, I'm curious, I'm neutral. So from someone taking a stance of being neutral and curious, well, then what decisions am I going to take? Probably ask some questions. What actions are you going to make? You probably will also, like Carol explained how the medical professional had the shoulders up, you're going to be more calm, right? You're going to be more friendly. Your tone of voice, just your body language is going to shift. When you're defensive, right? You're all uptight and you're like this and you're like on the attack. And guess what? Someone comes to me and attack, I'm going to be attacked right back at them. So when you make that decision, okay, I'm leaning into curiosity, I'm letting it go, being unattached. I'm able to get calm, blessing and releasing, and just being open. As Carol said, it's like you've kind of got your guard down and you're like, I'm open. I want to help, or I want to hear you out. I want to
advocate.
Listen, I want to support you, right? Yeah, advocate. It's going to be very different than when you're like, all right, let's go. And when you're able to, step into that curiosity, right? It's going to bring a higher level of leadership and people will match you. So if you're able to drop the person that you're with that might also seem like they're on the defensive, they can relax and they can drop too. And then you can have an open dialogue, an open conversation. And I was really guilty. not going to lie. I mean, many a times listeners, like I have said, man, I wish I knew back then what I knew now, because my experience and my role of leadership would have been completely different. I have multiple experiences going on in my head over and over again. I'm like, oh, I would have done this differently. Oh, I would have done that differently. But that's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here because of those experiences. We're here because we are wanting to support you and help you not have to go through what we experienced, but to say, hey, curiosity, what does curiosity get to look like for you? Because, Carol and I are two different individuals. Our clients are different than us. So sometimes the way we show up in curiosity might look a little bit different. So it is an invitation to get curious over what does curiosity look like to you, and where are some places you can maybe practice being curious. I am guilty wanting to just like talk all the time. I mean, hey, we have a podcast, right? But leaning into curiosity to me is like, okay, I get to know somebody. Who do I get to know for a first time that I don't know? What do I get to learn about somebody? Because a lot of times we have so much surface level connection and conversation with people that we don't really get to truly know them. And so by being able to leaning into that curiosity, you're able to maybe get to know somebody in a way that you haven't before. Oh, I think, I was going to say, I think you're muted, Carol.
That is so powerful. And I really love the way that you're drawing this out for us, because knowing that a situation is neutral, knowing that a thought fires and then an emotion fires within microseconds, forming our beliefs that we operate by, making our decisions from that, taking our actions and getting our results. This is all about being able to shift that to get those results that you want. That's the exciting part, because you can literally work it backwards, look at the result you want, think about the action you want to take, think about the decision you want to make, and so on. Curiosity is an incredibly powerful tool to move you forward in that leadership. And we really love bringing this information to you. And Alex, Lianne, let's give them a simple thing that they can do. What do you think? Just spend a week thinking about and deciding in advance that you're going to be curious about various situations. And then we want you to DM us over on Instagram. Let us know your results. We are at unleashed.unstoppable.you. And if you haven't subscribed to us yet, we really want you to subscribe today so we can keep bringing you better and better information. We love hearing from you. Bring us the information that you want to hear. Today, we really want you to lean into this miraculous and magical tool of curiosity.
We had a sentence that we wanted to share with you before we finish up here.
That's true. I forgot about that. Thank you.
That's okay. As we were talking earlier, we leaned into when we think about when we're having conversations and we find maybe ourselves in some confrontation or things like that, right?
Yeah.
We are oftentimes operating from our past experiences. And so what we wanted to lean in, today with you is to ask you the question of, are you living in the past or your future? So the future version, that higher level leader would lean into curiosity, whereas maybe the past version of you might lean into the reaction, the rebuttal, that kind of faith.
Yeah.
So we just want to remind you, because your brain is very powerful and the decisions that you make ahead of time make such an impact on your leadership and how you show up in your leadership, the decisions you make, the actions you take, and ultimately the results that you create. So share this podcast episode with someone, a leader that you know that could really benefit from it.
Yeah.
Practice your curiosity for the next week. Connect with us on Instagram at unleashed.unstoppable.you and let us know what is something that you learned to experience.
Yeah.
Who is the person that you leaned into curiosity with?
That reminds me, I do want to share with you this individual that I was dealing with that happened to be a medical professional. I love medical professionals. So it just happened to be that was the situation at that time. I want to be really, really clear about that. I'm super, super grateful for all of you out there who are working medical professionals, the leadership that it was required to do what you do. And we are holding you high in that.
Right, guys. Thanks so much for listening in to another episode of the Unleash Unstoppable podcast. We will see you all next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.